always answered the call. And it was basically about our World War I veterans from Aurora. And we focused on one individual, and that was Clare Eggleston. The American Legion Post in Aurora is named after, in his honor. But World War I broke out in 1914, and everyone expected that war was going to, the catchphrases were, it's the war to make the world safe for democracy, it's the war to end all wars. And so America got, stayed out of the war from 1914 until 1917, and then things, caused us to get involved, sinking of the Lusitania and some other things that happened. And a lot of Americans actually volunteered rather than sit around and wait to be drafted. And one of the first Aurora boys, the first Aurora boy, was Clare Eggleston. He was 21 years old at the time when he enlisted in the Army. Was shipped down to Columbus and spent time at training at Camp Sherman before he was shipped overseas. We're fortunate to have some of the letters that Clare wrote from Texas, where he eventually went from Camp Sherman to Texas training, and then over to Paris. But we have some of those letters, and then we have some letters that a couple letters that he wrote while he was in Paris, France, before he went into battle. Clare, like a lot of the young men from America that went off to war, were hyped up on those things to make the world safe and everything. And also this, sense of, I'm going to earn my red badge of courage, going off to war, and all this macho stuff and things like that. And I've always told people when I talk, that's why we draft young people, because as a young kid, we all probably thought, I can jump off a garage roof and I'm not going to get hurt, Or you send older people out, they're going to say, wait, what do you want me to do, So, Clare was that enthusiastic about what he was doing, but the letters give us some really good insight to what was going through his mind at the time. He's anxious to get overseas, and he's tired of going from one camp to another one and training and saying, when are we going to get over there and actually contribute to defeating the Germans. And in one letter, though, before they're getting ready to ship out, he's asking his brother to have his dad send some money. He's going to need some money, and I think it was like he was requesting $5 or something like that. And then he also, kind of a premonition maybe of some sorts, he says, to his brother, maybe, my suit, you might want to think about selling that. I don't think it's, I'm going to need it now, whether it's not going to fit him or he had a premonition of what might be happening to him. So he gets shipped off to France on the USS Powhatan, along with all the other GIs that are going with him, after leaving port in New York. They get to France, and there's about 3 more months of training going on. He was assigned to the 7th Company of the 3rd Battalion of the U.S. Medical Department. He was basically a stretcher bearer, so he had the responsibility of going out, to the front lines, battle lines, during the lulls, and attend to the wounded and stuff like that. But before he actually went into his first battle, he wrote a letter home to his brother Claude and said, I've seen a lot of French women, but you don't see a lot of men. I guess all the men are out, fighting on the front. So all the women are doing all the work that normally men would be doing. And then in another letter, he's writing, and he says, we've had the opportunity to get out in Paris and see the sights, and he said, I've seen a lot of good-looking French women. He says, being able to speak French would really come in handy. And that was the last letter. September 5th, 1918, Clare's parents back here in Aurora got a letter from the War Department saying that Clare had been killed. He had actually lost his life back in July of 26, so parents aren't finding out until September that they've actually lost their son. He was killed at an what was called an advanced dressing station, where the wounded are initially kind of triage before they're sent back. And there was an explosion behind him, and there was shrapnel that actually he was kind of facing it. So we have Claire's wallet that was on his body at that time, and you can see some of the shrapnel holes that went right actually through it, and through the pass that he had in his wallet and everything. He was attended to then and taken from the advanced dressing station to a hospital where his wounds were attended to. He apparently, in a letter that his brother Claude got from the War Department, the doctor said, well, you know, we're going to be able to dress your wounds and make you comfortable. And then they moved him into a ward where he was attended to by what they was the YMCA had actually gotten American nurses to go over and work in these hospitals, where he was attended to by a YMCA nurse. And he was later told, or Claude was told by the War Department in a letter, that the nurse kept checking on Claire, and he kept saying, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I think I'm okay. And then later that evening, the nurse went back into the ward to check on Claire, and he had passed. And he was buried along with the other Americans in the French cemetery in 1918. And then in 1921, the family had his body brought back here to the United States, where a full military service, funeral service, was held at the Congregational Church, his church in Aurora now, and he's buried in the Aurora Cemetery with full honors. So, you know, he was the first one enlisted and the first Aurora boy that lost his life in that war.